Hi. Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to find the slope of a line from the graph. Okay, I'm going to do 3 examples, and the first one I'm going to do 2 different ways, just to show you that either of the 2 ways works. Okay, so here we've got a graph. We've got this line here. We need to find the slope. So before we even start, we should just make a note to ourselves, is this slope positive or negative? Just by using the trick. You can either use the arm trick we talked about, or you can say, well, as it goes up, the x's go up, the y's go up. So in this case, we should get a positive number. So that's just a little thing, we'll check that at the end to make sure that our answer is positive. Okay, so we know that the slope, we use m for slope, is equal to rise over run. Okay. So then I'm going to choose 2 points. Maybe I'll choose these 2 points right here. You can use any 2 points you want. Just use points that are really easy to find the coordinates of. Like here, these are easy points because they're on lattice points, which means that both the x and the y are whole numbers. Okay, so for these we need to find the rise and the run. So if I start with this point, how do I get to this point? Well, I go up here. So this rise, I'm going to put my purple maybe, that rise is 2, a rise of 2. And then I go over 1. So I've got a rise of 2 and a run of 1. So my rise is 2 and my run is 1. So my slope equals 2 over 1. And then 2 over 1, of course, is just 2. Okay, now for this example, I want to show you that I could have done it. I can do it any way I want, really. As long as I choose any 2 points, and then I'm careful to get the rise and the run correct. And then I simplify my answer. So I can do this in several different ways. So for example, suppose I took 2 different points. Maybe I chose this point here, and I started there, and then I went all the way to this point down here. Okay? So how would we find the slope if those were the points we were using? So we'd start here, and we go all the way down to there. So this rise, we're going down, so it's going to be negative, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's a rise of negative 8. And then the run is here. This is also negative because we're going to the left. So it's a run of 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 4. So our slope here, the rise of our run, the rise, again, was negative 8. And that's over, and the run was negative 4. So now it's just a question of simplifying that. We have negative 8 divided by negative 4. So first, negative divided by negative is positive. And then 8 divided by 4 is 2. So I've chosen 2 very different pairs of points. But either way I get the same slope. Because the slope is the same all the way along this line. That's what makes it a straight line. So you can choose any 2 points you like. Choose whatever is convenient. And then count the rise and the run, and you'll get the slope. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more examples here. So right here, I've got to calculate the slope of my line. The first thing we'll do is we'll make a note. Is this positive or negative? And we'll double check at the end. Well, I didn't really say that, did I? At the end, we decided our slope was positive, and it was. The slope of 2. That is positive. So here we've got a slope of, this slope, when we look at this and it's going this way, this means it's a negative slope. So we should get a negative answer at the end. If we calculate, we put slope equals rise over run. And I choose any 2 points I want. Maybe I'll choose this one and this one. And you can decide which is going to be your first and which is going to be your second point. I'll start with this one here. Maybe I'll call that A. And this one would be B. It doesn't matter which way you start, but make sure you do decide. It's especially important for negative slopes to get the sign right. Make sure you know where you're starting and where you're ending. You get the same answer if you do it in the other direction, but you just can't switch halfway through. So between A and B, my rise is this. So we look at this, and in this question we actually have to be a bit careful because this is not a rise of 2. If we look over at this scale, the y-axis is going, each square is worth 10, so we're going up this much, so that's a rise of 20. And then for the run, do this. So we're going to the left, so it's going to be negative. And then this, the x-axis is going up by 1, so we can count the squares here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So run of negative 6. So the rise over run equals 20 over negative 6. And so remember that if you have a fraction with a negative sign, that negative sign can be on the bottom or the top or in front, and it's the same. So just as an example here, 20 over negative 6 is equal to negative 20 over positive 6, or negative in the front, 20 over 6. So that's a little aside, just to remember that that's true. So here it looks a bit nicer if we put the negative sign out in the front. And then I have this fraction 20 over 6, and I just need to simplify that. If I notice that they're both even, I can divide both of the numbers by 2. So I'll have 10, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my slope is equal to negative 10 over 3. Okay, and then one more example. So here I have to calculate the slope of this line. And now we've got some titles on our axes. The x-axis says number of days, and the y-axis says the total profit in dollars. We'll make a note here too that neither axis is going up by 1, so we'll have to be careful when we look at our rise and our run. If we know the units, what these are, it's a good practice to put the units in your slope because it helps you understand what the slope is about, what it tells you. So we'll have again slope m equals rise over run. And then I'll choose 2 points. Maybe I'll choose these 2 in the middle. Again, you'll get the same answer no matter what you do. And then the rise on these 2 points. So I go up here. If I start with this one being A and that one being B, I go up here. And I have to look at carefully at my axes to figure out how much I'm going up. This was halfway between 1 and 2,000, so 1,500. And I get all the way up to 3,000. So I've gone up 1,500. So rise equals 1,500. And then my run, I'm going from 100 to 200. So the run is 100. So my slope, the rise was 1,500. M equals 1,500. And earlier I said that we should put the units on this because it will help us understand what this is about. So when I went up by 1,500, what was that? If we check our axis, that's the profit in dollars. So let's put a dollar sign there. It's $1,500. And then the run is 100, but what is it? It's days. So it's 100 days. Okay, so now I'll simplify here. I have 1,500 divided by 100, so that's going to give me 15. And then when I look at the units, what I've got is I have dollars in the numerator, so I've got dollars divided by days. So what I have, my slope is 15, but this tells me that my slope is $15 per day. We can read this division line as per. So this tells me in this context, without knowing anything else, we don't know who this is, we don't know how they're making money, but we know that they're making $15 per day. So the slope here is 15, and what it tells us is every time the day goes up by 1, the profit goes up by 15. The slope tells us that they're making $15 per day. Alright, thanks.